On this episode of my so-called podcast, we'll be going back to November 2nd, 1993.
We're going to talk about So Far, So Good, the greatest hits from Bryan Adams, and The Piano from director Jane Campion.
Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast. It's my so-called podcast, the podcast where we go back to a week in the 90s and visit that week in our mind's eye, in our memory palace.
That's what we were supposed to be doing all these episodes? Because I have not done that.
No, the listeners welcomed into a memory palace full of wonder and nostalgia.
Make sure to wipe your feet. We don't want muddy shoes in the memory palace.
Nope. In the memory palace, we walk around, we check things out, we leave no trace, though.
That's right.
Because if we make any significant changes, you have to deal with the butterfly effect.
Oh, yeah.
Ashton Kutcher becomes famous again.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah. I mean, Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park, he won't shut up about the butterfly effect.
No, he does. No, he just keeps talking about it. Butterflies or dinosaurs. I don't know. I don't remember that movie very well.
Well, it doesn't talk about it as much in the movie as in the book.
Oh, right. Yeah, I read that book. I've read it. I can read.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of people out there on the Twitterverse think that I can't read.
Really? Is that what people in Twitter think about you?
Yes.
That you can't read?
That's, I assume that's what they're saying. I don't really.
You know who can't read?
Who?
Harvey Keitel and The Piano.
Oh, good. Nice segue.
The Piano is Jane Campion's critically acclaimed film that came out
in
November 1993.
Why are you bringing that up?
At the same week, Bryan Adams released one of his many greatest hits packages. I think the first.
I don't know.
Of his many greatest hits packages.
Is it really Bryan Adams releasing it, or the record company is like, let's milk these 80s hits of Bryan Adams and release his greatest hits?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he's a savvy businbusinessman. He might have had a hand in it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He also wrote the Please Forgive Me for that. So he had a hand.
Oh, that's the new song for that album?
Yeah, that's the new song. There was going to be two new songs, So Far, So Good, the eponymous self-titled track, and Please Forgive Me, but they ended up scrapping that one, just having one song on the greatest hits.
Okay.
That was new. Anyway, so those two things came out the same week, November 2nd, 1993, and that's what we do on this podcast, Gary.
Ooh, we take a movie, take an album, we talk about it.
We go to the memory palace.
Yes.
Wipe our feet. We leave trace.
No trace left behind.
Yep. Make America trace again.
Tracy Flick.
Morgan.
Oh.
So
what we do is we set the stage by doing some questions. You ask me a question, I see if I can come up with the answer. I ask you a question, you see if you can come up with the answer.
So is this answers and questions about 1993?
Typically. We try to make it around 93.
And is there a hilarious soundboard?
There's a soundboard. There seems to be a soundboard as part of this segment now. Yeah.
That seems to be the response to the soundboard.
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah.
It's 4-4.
4-4?
Yep.
Fours are wild?
Fours are wild.
Or?
Double threat.
Yes.
44. Miss 44.
Miss 44.
It's an Abel Ferrara movie.
Oh, okay.
Summer of 44.
Does it have Harvey Keitel in it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He's in The Bad Lieutenant, which is an Abel Ferrara movie.
You followed my line of thinking there, yes.
Yeah, that's 6 degrees of Harvey.
Okay.
Like, Harvey Milk was a politician in San Francisco.
Yes, Harvey was a giant imaginary rabbit.
Right. Harvey Oswald shot JFK,
Yes.
or so the Germans would have us believe.
Germans. Oh, Heidi Klum is German.
Harvey Wallbanger is a old-timey drink.
That Heidi Klum drinks and done.
Yeah, are you talking about the Hollywood Madam?
Yeah, no. That's Heidi Fleiss.
Oh.
Heidi Klum's the actress, or no, model from...
Seal's ex.
Yes. Yeah. Poor Seal. He had it all. But he flew too close to the sun.
Well, he married Heidi Klum too many times. They got remarried a bunch.
Did they?
They didn't get divorced ever.
I'd remarry Heidi Klum. Hey, here's your scoop. I'd marry Heidi Klum.
Okay, you heard it here first on my so-called podcast. Horny old man Gary Linton would marry Heidi Klum.
It's not like she's any younger than us. She might be a little younger, but not much.
She was made famous in my mind by being on the cover of both Maxim and Stuff magazine.
Oh,
Remember Stuff?
No, I'm glad I don't.
Stuff was a spin-off of Maxim that was like less articles, just girls in bikinis.
Sure, yeah. I wish I did remember it now, though. Thank you.
So should we get to the trivia?
Yeah, let's get to the trivia already.
Gary, what politician told an MTV audience he preferred briefs to boxers?
Ooh, in 93, I gotta go with Clinton.
That's right.
Yeah, Bill Clinton, not Hillary.
William Clinton
William
Osborne,
Clinton, yes.
the second.
All right. Okay, what?
Rodham.
Yes. What MTV twosome wear T-shirts honoring AC/DC and Metallica?
That would be Butthead and Beavis.
That is correct.
AC/DC and Metallica?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have gotten that right if I had to guess it the other way around. Like, what T-shirts do Beavis and Butthead wear?
Oh, yeah.
I had been wanting to do Metallica for the podcast and the self-titled or Black Album that come out in the 90s.
Right. That's considered their opus, right?
Yeah, either that or 1986's Master of Puppets, I think. There's a little bit of tension between the Master of Puppets Metallica fans and the Black Album Metallica fans.
Sure, well...
Black Album...
If you're talking Metallica, you're talking tension.
Black Album Metallica fans, or the non-Black Album supporters will say that that's really more when they went mainstream.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of a deal.
It is.
Yeah.
They're right.
That's when they had videos on MTV.
But, I mean, does that make them less great? Because it's mainstream?
Well, I think we're talking about a subjective truth here, so it depends on who you ask.
Okay, well, there you go. Fair. Asked and answered.
If you would ask me back in the day, I would have said it was all trash. But now I'm trying to be more open-minded.
There you go.
Anywho, the Metallica that you're used to seeing that's on the T-shirt and all the albums with the M that it turns into a lightning bolt, goes off to the right, and the A goes off to the left, or vice versa. Designed by James Hetfield.
Oh, right. Excellent.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean...
And their bass player...
For you.
Their bass player, I learned, reading a little bit about them, died... of
a broken heart?
Of getting run over by a bus.
Oh, it's much worse.
On tour in Sweden.
Ouch.
And they had drawn, like, playing cards for the comfortable bunk that night, and he chose that bunk, and that was the one where he died and everybody else lived.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole mystery around it. Like, was the bus driver drunk, or did he hit black ice, or whatever?
Right. I mean, if he hit black ice, that'd be awfully heavy metal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But apparently it was above freezing. So
there's
a whole
make sense.
mystery.
Right.
Anyway, I'm anxious to dive into the Metallica on
a later
date.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, what tame Sega horror title. Are you following this so far? Starring Dana Plato from TV's Different Strokes. Yep. Did critics unfairly single out as the kind of violent game that necessitated a rating system?
Oh, Resident Evil is what I want to call it. Okay.
Night Trap.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Night Trap. Apparently, Dana Plato starred in a Sega horror video game that was tame, according to this trivia game.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, trivia. Don't be so judgmental about what's horrific or not.
Yeah, maybe some people were horrified by Dana's Play-Dohs.
All right. What Bud Light mascot died of kidney failure, prompting Jay Leno to say family members had requested trees be sent instead of flowers? Oh, that Jay Leno. Let me do that again. Trees be sent. I don't got a good Leno. Trees be sent instead of flowers.
Monica Lewinsky.
Chicino.
Yeah, it'd be cool ranch trees.
You have cars.
I have a lot of cars. Your chin is really long.
Yeah.
I'm describing myself.
It's got a little bit of Woody Allen there.
That'd be Spuds.
Yeah, the original party animal.
The original Scottish dog.
The original.
Spuds Mackenzie.
Yeah. You're right. 2 for 2 for you, Eric. 1 for 2 me. That video game question. Russell Frassen.
What celebrity couple?
All right.
Opened an Iowa diner that sold loose meat sandwiches, just like the Landford lunchbox on her TV show.
I'm going to go with Tom and Roseanne Arnold. Is that how that's even said? Or is it Roseanne
and
Barr?
Tom Arnold.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Roseanne and Tom Arnold.
All right. This question. It's what it is. It's you have to deal with the cards that are handed to you, and so I'm going to ask you another question.
Literally and figuratively. Yeah.
So, what historic figure was always considered to be an instant conversation stopper during online chat, according to the now debunked Goodwin's Law?
Hitler?
Yeah.
It's debunked?
I guess. I don't know.
I mean,
no, I think that would be these days it'd be even more cause more conversation. Would you kill Hitler's baby? Or no? Would you kill? I mean,
no, I would not kill Hitler's baby.
But Hitler as a baby?
I mean, I think the law they're referring to is if you compare somebody to a Nazi or compare somebody to Hitler, that's kind of the end of the conversation because you're not being open-minded, I guess.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. My mind's closed.
It's apparently been debunked.
It's been debunked.
I just compare people to what's his name?
Mussolini.
No, I was going to go with Caligula.
Oh, there you go. I used to sleep in debunked beds. I wanted to get that joke out.
So, people think they're beds, but it turns out that they've never were beds.
Exactly. All right, so now we're moving on to talk about the album, and we're going to do the top 10 singles, right?
Yeah, who does that?
I do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the top 10 singles as I prepare myself to do that. I am prepared. I hope the listeners are prepared. Are you prepared, Eric?
I'm prepared.
Okay, we're all prepared. Okay.
Because I want to know what was on the radio.
Yeah.
In 1993.
Right. Because I'm sure that thought was going through Bryan Adams' head.
Well, a lot of these songs were on the radio at the time.
Yeah.
Whether it was a station that played old songs or new songs.
Oh. Yeah.
It probably played some of these songs.
Right. Okay. Well, here we go. Number 10. Number 10, Anniversary by Tony, and Tony.
I don't know how that song goes.
Number 9, Whoop. There it is by Tag Team, back again.
I know that.
Yeah, who doesn't know that?
Whoop, there it is.
That's it.
Whoop, there
Number 8.
Whoop, there it is. Let me hear you saying, whoop, there it is.
At number 8.
It is louder. Whoop.
Billy Joel was forging The River of Dreams.
In the middle of the night.
Yep.
I go walking in my sleep.
Number
All the mountains of fame.
7.
Blue river so deep.
I
must be searching for something.
When you're in the hood, but you're trying to diet, you're going to be Gangsta Lean by DRS. I don't know that song.
Is that a song, Gangsta Lean?
Gangsta Lean.
It's a type of cut of meat.
Maybe you're leaning back.
Oh, you're doing the Gangsta Lean.
Yeah.
It's a body position.
Maybe. Ooh. Number 6, Hey Mr. DJ by Zayn.
Hey, Mr. DJ, put another record on. It's
Isn't that
gonna
Madonna?
be a good song. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that song.
Number 5, Dream Lover by Mariah Carey.
Right?
Mimi.
Isn't that the way that one goes?
Yeah, I think
No, that's
that's
Fantasy. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I gotta...
Nope.
It's
I'm gonna-
Dream Lover, come rescue
Oh,
me.
that's it, yeah.
Take me up, take me down.
Take me up, take me down.
Any way you want, baby.
Well, yeah.
I need you
All right,
so
number 4.
desperately.
Number
That song was
4.
the number 1 song of 1993 on the Billboard Top 200.
Interesting.
Of the year.
Hey, Eric. Interesting tidbit. Number 4, again.
Why, thank you. I've been working on it. I've been working out.
Number 4 is Again by Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Yep, again. Number 3, Just Kicking It by Escape.
Just kicking it.
All
Like
right.
the Gangsta Lean.
Yeah, there you go. Number 2 is All That She Wants is Another Baby. Just give her another baby already.
That's all that she wants.
Yep.
Gary, we were decorating for trivia night the other night.
Okay.
And the theme was Throwback Prom.
Okay.
Friend of the show, Alicia Spiegel, put
no
a lot of work into the decorations.
Friend of mine.
For Throwback Prom, and there were several stations where you could get your picture taken as if you were at prom. One was a balloon arch with a teal background.
Yeah.
One was, you know how they have the check floor and those columns that you could rest on with your picture taken.
Yeah.
There was an arch of flowers.
Okay.
And there was a fake fireplace you could stand in front of and get your
Nice.
picture taken. On the mantle over the fireplace, an 8x10 of Laura Palmer.
Nice. Excellent. Good.
Anyway,
this
we're not done.
This is still going on.
That's just the preamble to
Wow.
this
That's
anecdote.
so long.
Just listen.
Yeah.
We were listening to some 80s and 90s mixes while we were decorating to get us in the mood. You know,
sure.
it's Throwback Prom.
Throwback.
And All That She Wants by Ace of Base was on the mix. And by the end of that song, I was like, this is not no joke. I really like this song.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right.
It's a song that I actually like.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would say that about The Sign.
Yeah.
But
I maybe
I
got a
don't know
little
about-
burned out on the Sign back in the
Sure.
day, but I was hearing All That She Wants with fresh ears, and it's got that boom 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 boom. That
Well, that
in
was
the background.
that first album was
was
huge. Ace of Base.
And it's BASE.
BA, I was just going to say that too. I noticed that.
Boom.
Number 1.
She lives a lonely life.
Number 1 is I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that. By the Mr. Loaf. First name, Meat.
Bat Out of Hell 2.
Yep.
The sequel.
The sequel to Bat Out of Hell 1, I guess? I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Bat
okay.
Outta Hell.
That's how that works.
And Bat Out of Hell was in the 70s.
Yep.
And this was in the 90s, if I get my math correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Where do you stand on the Meatloaf situation?
I enjoy Paradise by the Dashboard Lights because it's such an event. You know, you got to get your popcorn and listen to that song.
Well, you have to dance to it at this
Yeah,
middle school dance.
At the prom.
Yeah.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. I think I don't care for it so much. I think I heard it maybe a little too much.
Well, what's your take on what he won't do?
Oh, I think Settle Down, be monogamish.
Really?
Yep.
It's about Dan Savage's concept of monogamish? I didn't know that.
That's just my take.
It's written from the perspective of like a Larry Flint type.
Yeah, I would do anything for love.
But I won't settle down with Courtney Love.
Exactly.
I would do anything for Courtney Love, but I won't do that.
Yep, that's right.
And how does him being a werewolf factor into it?
Well, in the full moon, his lichen cells mutate.
Rewind here. How is it that Meatloaf gets to determine the parameters of any relationship?
He's a huge star. He's got that huge voice.
And I would do anything for love.
And he's got those.
That was not Meatloaf. I don't know who that was. I was doing
handkerchiefs
for love.
That's I think that might be. I don't know.
I think Celine Dion, Meatloaf, and some other people exist in the same universe.
Probably.
Somebody was falling into my mind, but they fell out because I'm trying to figure out who I sound like when I go,
yeah.
For love! Tom Jones?
I think it might be. No, it's somebody else.
Musical guest.
No, it's not.
Meatloaf.
It's not Don Pardo. So those are the songs that were on the charts when Bryan Adams released his
Sing for Love.
Yeah. His first greatest hits.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Yeah, so how much did you know about Bryan Adams before coming into this? What was your pre-test probability?
I got myself an older brother and an older sister who were both Bryan Adams fans.
In what context were they
Bryan
Bryan
pretty
Adams
sure my older sister had this CD.
Okay.
And my brother had Reckless on cassette tape. Craig had Reckless on cassette. And maybe even more of his albums on cassette, but I definitely know. And Summer of '69 was on MTV all the time.
What's that video like?
It's kind of black and white and
just like the Reckless album cover.
Yeah, and just kind of it's like fast camera angles. I remember. I'm not sure exactly what else was going on in it. I just remember a lot of the camera moving a lot.
Okay. So, lots of editing.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So, I was aware of Summer of '69 and some of his other hits through osmosis. I mean, just Y98.
Yep.
But I always thought in my mind that, well, I was really aware of him for the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, that shot him through the stratosphere. Everything I do it for you.
Right. I was a film nerd at the time, and I knew that was just based on the love theme from Robin Hood Prince of Thieves.
Yeah.
So Michael Kamen did the score, and that blung bum 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 bum. That's in that movie,
right?
And that's just written by the guy who did the score for the movie,
right?
So he just took the love theme and put words to it.
But it's still but it was for the movie. So I mean, when you say
but you don't always do that.
Well, right, I agree. You don't always do that, but it's. I think it works.
Fine. Anyway, I was like judgmental. I don't know why. It's like he didn't write that song, but who cares? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
I liking that music without it being a song is what it was.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted it to be my own little thing.
Sure.
It was a popular song.
It was, yeah. It was huge.
It was huge.
Huge.
So it was like, oh, this is one of those guys. You know, we've talked about adult contemporary people being huge in this era. And he was one of those guys. I always assumed kind of that there was a lot more before this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you take like a Billy Joel, for example.
Right.
The River of Dreams, which was big at this time, he had like 20 albums, maybe 10 albums before that.
Billy was working in the 70s,
right,
where Bryan Adams is 80s. His first album was 83 with Reckless, I believe.
Well, his first album was Cuts Like a Knife.
Oh, okay.
And then Reckless.
Oh, okay.
Reckless was 84,
Oh, okay.
So I learned all this for this podcast. Then he had an album in '87 that didn't have any hits on it.
Oh, really?
And then he didn't really have any songs until the Robin Hood song, which was '92.
Right, and I think, yeah. Well, did you want to do?
Really, he had that one album.
Did you want to do an either or to start the conversation, or did we just want to keep talking about it?
Either.
Okay.
Bryan Adams has a lot of songs other than the stuff on this album, or this is most of his stuff.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, I think this is most of his stuff that you need to listen to. I mean, if you wanted to get a sense of Bryan Adams, this is a perfect album to do that with.
Or can you just listen to Reckless?
Well, yeah. So I think if you're going to talk about Bryan Adams, you kind of have to include Everything I Do It For You. That has to be in a conversation of like
Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams, yes.
Right.
And so...
okay, so nowadays, do you think that's the first thing that comes into people's heads?
I bet so.
I think it's Summer of '69 still.
You still do? Maybe for...
Depends on the generation.
I think so.
I feel
if you heard Bryan Adams before, that would probably... my first thought is still Summer of '69.
Yeah.
And...
I think of that Three Musketeers song.
Right.
With the Three Musketeers themselves, Sting, Bryan Adams, and Rod Stewart.
Oh, right. Which isn't even on here.
Let's do it all for one and all for love. I think I've sang that song on this podcast multiple times.
I'm sure you have.
You want to do the track listing of this bad boy?
So Summer of '69 is the first one. Straight from the Heart is number 2.
Give it to me straight from the heart.
It's Only Love with Tina Turner.
So that was new to me. I didn't know he had a song with Tina Turner. He was only like 24 when that came out.
I knew that song.
I was doing the math. You know how old this guy was in the summer of '69?
Right. It doesn't work out. I mean,
he was 10.
I don't believe he's actually talking about like the summer of 1969.
He's talking about the summer he first '69.
Yeah. Well, no, it was the whole summer. I mean, it was they did it all summer.
For 3 straight months,
exactly.
They didn't eat or sleep.
Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Gross.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did other things.
You could get an infection that way.
Well, they showered and then Can't Stop This Thing. What's that?
That is from
Waking
Waking Up the Neighbors.
Yeah, which
is the album. So you had 2 choices of buying your Everything I Do It For You. The
Robin Hood
soundtrack, which was the score.
Oh, and this one... Go on. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Well, it had the score, the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves score, which is famous music not just for the Marion's theme, which is what Everything I Do It For You is based on. But the Robin Hood theme itself is still fairly famously used in... Disney trailers and stuff. It's the brum ba dum ba dum ba da dum bum 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 ba bum bum ba bum bum ba bum 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 bum.
You're getting a little close to Star Wars there.
Okay, fine.
So that's okay. But
or you could buy Waking Up the Neighbors, which was his collection of new music that came out the same year.
Well, and so Can't Stop This Thing We Started. Waking Up the Neighbors was produced by Mutt Lange.
Jeff Mutt Lange.
Yeah, and this song is such a Shania Twain song. It could be.
Well, I think that Bryan Adams, I can't get a beat on him, but some of the songs that ended up on Reckless, he shopped around to other bands that were more famous than him. He wrote Run to You for Blue Oyster Cult, and they turned it down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then after that, there was Do I Have to Say the Words?
I think that's also on
Waking Up the Neighbors. Yep. And then This Time is from Cuts Like a Knife. Okay.
Disney Animated Films presents.
Oh yeah, now I get it. I see it now. So, then Run to You The famous song off of
You know this, right?
yeah. Right. Yeah, that is not what you were doing though.
Anyway, Run to You. Do you ever listen to that song?
I mean, I've heard it multiple times.
So sing it to me real fast.
I need to run to you. Yeah.
Yeah? So
That's it.
when the feeling's right, I'm gonna run all night. I'm gonna run to you, right?
Yep.
So it was. So I've heard that a million times in my life, and I know that he's going to run to her.
When the feeling's right.
But when the feeling's right, correct?
Yeah.
And it never really. I just a lot of his songs are pretty brainless, like a lot of cliches.
Yep.
Not a whole lot.
That's what I got off of this re-listening here.
Just
also.
a lot of cliches.
Yep.
But one time I was driving home from dropping off Owen at camp or something, and Run to You came on, which is probably one of my favorites. I like the chord changes. That part. But I listened to it, and you know how sometimes you listen to the lyrics and sometimes you don't.
Yep. Oh, do I?
But this one, this first time I listened to the lyrics, maybe it was the 30th time I've ever listened to that song. That's about having a girlfriend that's different than your girlfriend.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
She says her love for me could never die, but that'd change if she ever found out about you and I.
Ah, right.
Oh, but her love is cold. Wouldn't hurt her if she didn't know, 'cause when it gets too much, I need to feel your touch.
Ah, nice.
I'm going to run to you. That's
Run
why
to
he's
you.
running. He's running away from
Running
his
from
girlfriend.
her, running to you.
To the other one. She's got a heart of gold. She'd never let me down. But you're the one that always turns me on. That doesn't even rhyme.
You know what? I like Summer of '69. He rhymes with dime. That's like,
That's what we call a soft rhyme in the biz.
yeah.
You keep me coming round. I know her love is true. But it's so damn easy making love to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's hey, you heard it here first. Hey, Scoops. Get your scoops.
It's a cheating song.
Cheating song.
Cheating.
After that.
He's cheating on her.
Heaven is after
Shake
that.
and bake.
Also from Reckless.
Heaven
So-
isn't too far away.
Yeah.
That's a different heaven.
No, that's right. That's
Warrant?
Yeah, I think it is a Warrant.
How does Heaven by him go?
I don't have the tune in my head right now. So, but that's also from Reckless. So
Yeah, it's
six.
so many
1,
Reckless
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Thinking about the love we share.
Yeah. So 6 songs from Reckless are on this album, and Reckless only has 10 tracks.
Right. It's reckless.
Yeah.
This is reckless.
Yep.
There's
No,
this time.
you're being reckless, Eric.
This
With the way you're playing that music.
Straight from the Heart is from Cuts Like a Knife.
Yep. And Cuts Like a Knife is from I don't know what album that's from.
And we've said, can't stop this thing we've started. Do I have to say the words? So you get mostly Reckless. You get a couple from Waking Up the Neighbors.
Yep.
2 from Cuts Like a Knife. Nothing from his 87.
3 from Cuts Like a Knife. Straight from the Heart this time, and Cuts Like a Knife.
And
a new song.
One song from 1987's Into the Fire.
Yeah.
Heat of the Night.
Heat of the Night, which is...
I mean, he felt the pressure to put this on there. It was not a popular
No,
song.
it's pretty generic.
And then Please Forgive Me, which he pulled off the trick of having a hit song that he writes for the greatest hits. But
Please Forgive Me a hit?
Yeah. That was on the radio a lot.
Yeah.
I remember Jenny Adams told me she listened to this greatest hits compilation. My friend Jenny Adams from high school.
Yeah. Oh, we all know.
Listened to this a lot because Please Forgive Me was her song with her boyfriend Josh.
Oh, that's a...
I was like,
what? That's not a good
seems
song.
like a bad sign.
Maybe Run to You would be a better choice.
Yeah, if she was running to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hi-oh!
Ooga.
Hiya. Hubba. But yeah, Bryan Adams was never my thing.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping that this listen would be like,
you know what?
He's got a lot of great songs.
And was it?
No, not really.
Okay. You know who also doesn't really care for Bryan Adams? Ryan Adams.
Well, he used to be more of a punk than he is.
Yeah.
I think he
Brian
takes
or
that,
Ryan?
Ryan.
Ryan.
I think he takes that a little more in stride.
I think so these days, yeah.
One interesting thing about Bryan Adams was that he was sort of a rough and tumble Canadian boy in his flannel shirts and his, in
the early 80s, I think...
maybe kind of a leather jacket.
Yeah, he had a leather jacket. It's the cover of Reckless.
But then...
George Michael's.
After Waking Up the Neighbors, the next thing was the Don Juan DeMarco song.
Oh, yeah,
And he kind of transmogrified into a guy that wore a lot of, silky shirts.
Yeah,
and
he
had
did.
longer hair, and he was sort of lounging
Oh,
around.
yeah, he was swarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came awfully swarthy.
And then he disappeared forever.
Thank goodness.
Right? Didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was flying down through the Bermuda Triangle, so that might have had something to do with it.
I mean, what is there other than these greatest hits? And, I mean, apparently Spotify says he's got tons of stuff other than this, after this?
I can't trust Spotify. You know how many times it let me down?
Do you use it ever?
No. But, I mean, I call it all the time, and I'm like, hey, Spotify, can you give me a ride? And it's like, you want Uber, dude. We're Spotify. And I'm like, just give me a ride, Spotify.
So you're confused by what different apps do.
Yes.
So after Waking Up the Neighbors, he has this album called 18 Till I Die,
Uh-huh.
which came out when he was
Is
36.
it by Skid Row?
He had an MTV Unplugged in 97. He had On
like
a
he has
Day
a
Like
new-
Today
He has
in
got a new
98.
album coming out in 2019 even.
2002, he did the soundtrack to the movie Spirit, the Stallion of the Cimarron.
Ooh.
I think that was a DreamWorks joint.
Yeah, it was.
And then Room Service, then 11, then
does that
Bare
one,
Bones.
Wait, do you think that joke is that one goes to 11?
No, there's 11 songs on it.
That's not funny. I like funny jokes.
Then 2014, he did an album called The Tracks of My Years.
Oh.
My guess is that's covers.
Yep.
Down on the Corner, The Tracks of My Tears, God Only Knows. Okay.
Yep.
Get Up, and then another greatest hits. So basically nothing. I don't know what's on 18 Till I Die.
A new album coming
yeah.
out in 2019, Shine a Light. Everybody, 2019, the year of Bryan Adams.
He'll be back.
He's going to be back and badder than ever.
Yeah, the album with Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman is the 18 Till I Die, and that has, now I remember, The Only Thing That Looks Good on Me Is You.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then there's also a song called
Yeah.
There's also a song called Let's Make a Night to Remember on that.
Yeah.
Let's make a night to remember.
He was trying to be all,
from January
2000
to
and,
September.
he was trying to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And he failed. Booyah.
This is totally a Shania Twain song, too.
Yeah. I think, did Mutt Lange produce this one?
Probably.
Probably. They're both, Shania Twain and Bryan Adams are both Canadian. And I've never seen them in the same room together.
Have you ever seen Chris Gaines in the room with either one of them?
Yeah, actually I have. I walked in on Chris Gaines and Bryan Adams. I don't want to say what they were doing, but let's just say they were cooking up a stew.
Doesn't Mutt Lange do stuff with Taylor Swift now?
I don't know. I'm not his biographer. You know?
Yeah, but you're a Swiftie.
That's true. I don't know.
The 30th anniversary version of Reckless has 32 songs.
Ooh, how many demos? Give me them demos.
Yeah, I gotta hear those demos.
That's right. In this one, Summer of '69 is a little bit different. Oh, there's a lot of live
Here's
albums.
Run to You live at Hammersmith.
Live at Hammersmith. Yeah, that looks like that's what it is.
Boo.
A bunch of a concert, a live concert.
Oh, was Kids Wanna Rock on your list of So Far So Good?
Yeah, I mentioned it.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
That was awful.
That's on Reckless.
Yeah. So there were some that I had never heard before, and they were generally bad. Kids Wanna Rock. I kind of like the Tina Turner one.
Yeah, it's good.
But I think the Tina
It's
Turner
on Tina
one
Turner's best hits.
was the only one that I was like,
pleasantly surprised.
I really have a little bit of nostalgia for that early 80s Tina phase where she was touring stadiums and stuff.
With What's Love Got to Do with It? And We Don't Need Another Hero.
Yeah. Didn't she have a Something Lover, too? Secret, I'll be your secret lover.
Yeah.
I'll dancing
Part-time lover?
for money.
Oh,
do
right.
what you want me to do.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I really like that phase where she was big again in the 80s.
That was nice.
Tina Turner's awesome.
She is awesome. River Deep, Mountain High is an awesome song.
Yeah. I mean, she's one of those greats. But she had that phase where it was like 80s Tina.
Uh-huh.
And then she kind of disappeared again.
She was gone. Yeah.
She had that simply the best.
Yep.
Dun,
Yep.
dun, dun,
Yeah, that was
better
all.
than all the rest.
That was Tina Turner, but we're talking about Bryan Adams. Anything else you want to say about Bryan Adams? So far, so good.
What's your favorite song on the album?
Probably Summer of '69 still.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's still, that pulls at the nostalgic heartstrings. I mean, like I said, it was on MTV so much.
To me, I guess I liked...
I like Somebody, too.
I guess I like the music. He did have 2 albums before Cuts Like a Knife that didn't make a splash. Bryan Adams, his first album from 1980. He would have been only like 20 or 21 when that came out. You Want It, You Got It in 81, and nobody did.
No. Hey, yo.
And then in 83, Cuts Like a Knife. 84, Reckless. And then the aforementioned Into the Fire with 0 hits in 87. And then nothing until the Robin Hood song 4 years later. And then after that, nothing really.
I mean, that 96 album, that 18 in Life.
The only thing... 18 in Life. Ugly Kid Joe's.
It's Skid Row. Skid Row.
Anyway, basically he's just reckless. It's like if you didn't know anything about Tom Petty and you found out all they really had was Full Moon Fever.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But really, actually, they have tons more, and I expected him to have more stuff.
Oh, you expected Bryan Adams to have more stuff?
Yeah, I expected a long and varied career, and I'd be like digging in and learning, and no, there's really nothing.
There's not.
But I like Run to You better than Summer of '69 still, I think.
Yeah, sure.
That Heaven song is not so great.
No, it's kind of sappy and ballady. I mean, it's fine.
Kids Wanna Rock, not so good.
Nope. Yeah, you want to rate it? We got a rating system here on My So-Called Podcast, the patented My So-Called Podcast rating system. It's patented pending.
Patented pending.
We use stars. It's 4 stars. It's a well-deserved classic status. 3 stars is it's not well-deserved, but it's a classic. No, that's not true.
Not what it
it's not. It's a pretty good album. You should listen to it.
Yeah, it's solid. It holds up.
2 stars
whatever.
is it's not that good of an album. Don't waste your time.
Hey, yeah.
And number 1 is we were young. We didn't know any better. We had our heads firmly up our butts, so we didn't know what we were talking about.
Kids these days.
Exactly. So what are you going to give Bryan Adams? So far, so good.
Well, I mean, if I was listening to Reckless in 1984, I would probably give that 4 stars.
Yeah.
But it's not 1984.
No.
And this is Reckless, the extended version.
Yeah. Everything I do it for you.
I would give that album with the only thing that looks good on you is me 1 star.
Oh yeah,
for a barometer.
I remember that video.
Lots of slimy, silky, shiny, and his hair's longer.
Yeah, and he just looked grimy.
Yeah, midlife crisis is what it was.
It was just, it was him doing grunge, and I was like, no, but you are not.
Plus, he also had
grunge.
Have you ever really loved a woman?
Yeah, it was like, no,
You
Brian.
try to love her.
Hey, get a razor, cut that hair, get your leather jacket back. It did not work.
Put on a flannel shirt and sing about Maid Marian again.
Yeah, it did not work.
So that's 1 star Bryan Adams. Yep. Reckless in 1984 be 4 star. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably give this 2 stars. Yeah, even though it's a greatest hit.
Right.
He doesn't really warrant one.
I would give it 2.5, but that's just a half more star than you. So we're right there.
I feel like I'm knocking in that half star because he did not get his first real 6-string and buy it at the 5 and dime.
So you're going to say that he's lying, and so...
He's lying. In the summer of 69, he was 10.
I'm telling you, it was not about the year. It's about... It was like 1980, but he calls that the summer of 69.
If he was singing about the summer that he was 20, he'd be like, I had my first album. Nobody bought that one.
All right, well, that was the first half of my so-called podcast. That was fun. You're going to want to come back for the second half.
Where we're going to party down.
Right, so we'll talk about The Piano.
Jane Campion's masterpiece.
The Piano. We'll be right back.
The Piano.
She came to a husband she had never met. And with time, I'm sure she would become affectionate. And discovered a passion that would change her world forever. Holly Hunter, Harvey Keitel, Sam Neill, The Piano.
Hey, welcome back to my so-called podcast. I'm Gary Linton.
And I'm still Eric Spiegel.
Yeah, you are.
Hi.
We just got done talking about the Bryan Adams Greatest Hits, So Far So Good. That was released in 1993, November 2nd, the week of November 2nd, 1993. And same week, The Piano. Is this the broad release, Eric? Do you know?
Yeah, the
wide release.
Wide
release.
Actually, I think it's the first release, so probably limited.
Okay,
back in them days,
they did some limited releases.
Yeah, limited release. You get them. Good reviews in. You slow roll,
and that's that was always annoying because you had to go to the mall. And I'd be in the mall, and I'm at like Forever 21, and I'm like, "Where's The Piano?" And they're like, "No, it's down at the limited." And I'm like, "Oh, dang it! Of course, it's a limited release."
I was going to actually talk about how it's annoying because we used to get those good indie movies, but we'd have to wait till like February.
Yeah, we're a big enough city to where we would get the independent films, but they would be later.
Yeah. We never got them before Christmas, really.
But at least we didn't, some places don't get them at all. So, count your blessings before they hatch, right? Is that what it's?
Yeah. A blessing in the hand is better than 2 bushes.
Yes.
Bush league.
Yeah, that's it. Don't be a bush leaguer.
Won't get fooled again.
Right, yes.
What's The Piano about?
Well, do you want to talk about the movies that were released the same week that The Piano was released?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So if you were going to the Cinemaplex to go see The Piano in St. Louis in November 2nd, 1993, you'd be screwed because you couldn't go see The Piano.
No, you couldn't. Not in St. Louis.
That's what we were talking about. So you had your choice of these movies.
Okay.
Number 10, Fatal Instinct.
Nice.
A Linton family
It's
classic.
Great.
Number 9, previous My So-Called podcast, Malice.
Oh, yeah. Talked about that with our wives.
My wives.
You know, and on a recent podcast of WTF, Aaron Sorkin was on WTF.
Oh, Aaron
and he was
Sorkin.
talking about how he had an idea for a doctor and a woman who faked a medical procedure to,
Yeah.
and you know, he was kind of talking about. I was like, "Oh, that's Malice, is what he's talking about."
He's talking about Malice.
And then Mark Maron asked him, he was like, "Well, how did that?" And he's like, "Well, the movie didn't turn out as well as I had hoped, but it was a valuable lesson. He learned some lessons, and so he was."
It was a popular movie.
Yeah. So
It wasn't a very good
Holly
movie.
Hunter, isn't she in Malice?
It's
No,
Nicole Kidman, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Alec Baldwin. But
yeah.
who's Baby Newworth, right? Who's the
Bebe?
Yeah.
Bebe's kids?
Wasn't she the detective?
I think
Because
maybe. It
that-
wasn't Holly Hunter.
No, you're right.
She was the detective in the serial killer thriller Copycat.
Right. Yeah,
Also
maybe that's
starring
it.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
Copycat is sort of the Copycat is to Seven
Yeah.
as Stir of Echoes is to The Sixth Sense.
Yep. Okay. Sounds
You know
good.
what I mean?
Yes.
Kind
That's
of
a
got
good,
buried by
SAT question.
Hey, my dream SAT would just be those kinds of
Yeah,
things.
exactly.
Number 8. What do you do with the seashells?
You sell them on the shore.
No, it's Demolition Man. In the bathroom, there's 3
right.
seashells.
Yeah, that's right.
Sylvester Stallone doesn't know what to do with the
Right.
seashells. Starring pre-Speed,
Sandra Bullock.
Sandy Bullock,
Yep.
pre-Bird Box.
That's right.
Number 7, Rudy.
Oh yeah, little Rudy.
I
He
want
can-
to
he
play
can
for the
Notre
Irish.
Dame. Yep.
Number 6, past few months, they did this on, how did this get made? Look Who's Talking Now.
Yeah.
That's the threequel to
Yeah.
Look Who's
with
Talking.
Dogs. The dogs are talking.
Number 5, the Beverly Hillbillies.
Nice.
That was back when they were making TV shows into
They
movies.
still do that.
Number 4, Cool Runnings. Who ever heard of a Jamaican bobsled
I
team?
don't know. That's crazy.
Number 3, RoboCop 3.
RoboCop 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen it,
I haven't either.
and it's PG-13.
I think I even forgot about it. I forgot it existed.
Well, RoboCop 2 was a rated R sequel to RoboCop that nobody watched.
Yeah.
So they're like, maybe it's supposed to be PG-13.
That's probably it.
And then they were like, maybe it should be a TV show.
Yeah.
And no, maybe it should be a remake.
Let's
that's
remake it. Yeah.
PG-13. No, that didn't work either. Maybe just the original was good and leave it alone.
They should have done that.
Number 2, Flesh and Bone. It's a Paramount movie. I believe that is a dark drama / thriller with Meg Ryan and her husband Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
And
maybe.
cowboy hats.
Yeah, right. I think so. Yeah.
Cowboy hats are involved.
That sounds right.
Number 1, Tim Burton's is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nice. Yep. I went and saw that in the theater.
Jack Skellington's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, he's above the title. So those were out at the theater when The Piano got a limited run.
Mhm.
And we're going to be talking about The Piano.
Number 15 at the box office that week in 302 theaters, adding to its cumulative of $329 million, Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah. Poor Sam Neill.
Sam
First,
Neill.
he gets, he gets attacked by those dinosaurs, and then
his mail order bride is not excited.
Not in love with him.
Not really at all.
No. So Jane Campion's The Piano.
Oh yeah, what's that about?
Well, again, I was just gonna start. We started off with an either or
Oh, okay.
to start the questions.
What's it about, Gary?
Yeah,
Either it's about this, or it's about that?
Well, do you say you have an either or? Did you want to throw that out there?
I got a strong either or for you, Gary, if you can handle it.
I can handle it.
All right, The Piano, Jane Campion, directed and wrote.
Yep.
Starring a woman.
Yes.
Edited by a woman.
Yeah.
Nominated for Best Director.
Yep.
Best Picture, I think.
Yeah.
Best Actress.
Yep.
Best Editing.
And Best Supporting Actress.
And Best Supporting Actress. It won, I believe, 3 Academy Awards, all to women.
Yep.
It's a woman's story to a certain extent.
No, I think so.
Either this is a feminist motion picture, or it is not a feminist motion picture, and explain your reasoning in, let's say, 20 pages or less.
You know what? I think if I was going to be presented with that, I would try to argue that it is a feminist film. So what's our time period? 1819?
A mute woman is sent to 1850s New Zealand along with her young daughter and prized piano for an arranged marriage to a wealthy landowner, but is soon lusted after by a local worker on the plantation.
So I think the Ada, who is Holly Hunter's character's name is Ada, I would argue that this is a feminist film because she is kind of in control the whole time. You know, she, even when Harvey Keitel, I guess we gotta break down what the whole story is before we start
before
answering.
You can really say. So I mean, the reason I ask it is because I don't think you can say yes fully. I mean, and I don't think you could say no fully.
There's ambiguity. Yeah, but you can make an argument.
Ambiguousness.
Yes. That's
as they say in Yiddish.
So, Ada, like right away, the very first thing we hear, and I thought that was a bold move, is Holly Hunter's Scottish accent saying, "Hey, this is me talking, but this isn't my voice. I can't talk. I don't know why. But the piano's my voice."
Yeah.
She says that right there, kind of like, hey, there's this symbolism with this whole piano thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a subtle film.
No, it's not. I guess, did you see it before? Had you seen it before?
So, yeah, I think I saw it in the mid to late 90s on video cassette.
Okay, I had not seen it before.
In 1993, I was a touch too young to be watching the piano at theaters. You got your sex, your violence, your full frontal male nudity.
Yeah.
And it's an art house movie. Yeah. I mean, I was probably interested, but...
I actually was never really interested in it. I mean, I know it was always on the radar. It won Best Picture, right? Did it win the Best Picture?
No, Schindler's List won Best Picture.
Okay, but it was nominated. And so I knew it was a good... Everybody thinks it was a really good movie.
She was nominated for Best Director, but the only woman to ever win Best Picture was Catherine Bigelow. Yeah.
But Anna Paquin, sidebar... she's great in this.
Silky Stackhouse herself?
Yes.
From True Blood?
Little Anna Paquin, rogue.
She's delightful.
You know, I think when it comes to acting, you gotta kind of, and again, Harvey Keitel, I don't know if I buy him fully. He's a great actor, but in this role, I was kind of like, he's still Harvey Keitel to me.
I don't know. I know what you're saying. I think Harvey Keitel brings an awful lot of baggage to a motion picture. I think if maybe you had... The question is, if this was the first thing you'd ever seen Harvey Keitel in it, would you have a problem with it?
Right, and I guess... But see,
or is it that he's played the same character so many times that wasn't this guy?
Yeah, that could be it. There could have been... I mean, I know there's...
I mean, he shows up at the end of Pulp Fiction a year later, and he's the wolf, and he's basically just Harvey Keitel.
Right. And so... But and I had seen Anna Paquin and other stuff before.
Before this?
This, yeah. So
Is she a fetus?
well, no, I didn't watch this when it originally came out.
I'm just saying you saw things that were made before 1993 starring Anna Paquin.
I've not seen things that were made before. I've seen her act in other stuff before
Right.
I saw her act in this.
She is wonderful in this.
Yeah,
I think this
she
is the
completely believable. That's the thing, is she sells everything that she does. It's not like from a kid standpoint, you're like, that kid's just being precocious or something like that, you know?
Yeah, you buy it.
She is living these experiences.
Yeah,
So,
she's great in this.
Yes.
And you could see why they gave her the Oscar.
yeah, it deserved.
But I mean, it's just so delightful to listen to her little Scottish accent.
That's true. Yeah, she's great at that.
Hear her
Could be
explain
part.
things to people, and her
I
personality
hope she
is
goes to hell. Or where's she going? She's going straight
to hell. But you know, there's a real lived-in quality to the performances that I appreciated. I mean, they really are tromping through the mud. Holly Hunter really is playing the piano.
Yep, and she doesn't talk.
She she learned to play the piano for this movie and learned to play the pieces that she's supposed to be playing in the film. And taught her quote unquote daughter sign language and piano.
Right. Oh wow. See.
And so they had a real relationship other than what's on screen. So,
and I think this story. So Ada is Scottish. She has a daughter. She's not married. We don't know what happened to her husband. We really
don't know much about her husband.
Yeah.
We know two things. We know she tells her daughter that he couldn't handle being a father and left. And then we know from Flora's perspective, which is Anna Paquin's character's name, this fairy tale of married in the woods
lightning
and
bolt hit. And
but that's all we know about him.
Yep.
Is that basically they exist kind of outside the norms of regular female behavior.
Ada and Flora?
In the sense that
she
doesn't speak.
Right.
She plays the piano in a way that makes people uncomfortable. She's had a child without having a husband.
Right.
And so you plop her down with straightforward Sam Neill's character who thinks that he basically owns her.
Well, right. And this was a time where I think, like dowries still work. So I think it's implied, it doesn't come right out and say it, but he did pay to have her come down. And
so she's property.
Yep.
And then she has property in the form of the piano.
Her piano, yeah. It comes down, they leave it on the beach. They're stuck on the beach for
a day,
so. Yeah, until Sam Neill brings Harvey Keitel, who is his neighbor, and I guess they're just Europeans, like two of the sole Europeans in this New Zealand area.
One of the interesting things about this movie is there's not a lot of exposition at all.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of story.
No, it's basically a love triangle. Is when you boil it down, it's just a love triangle.
But the way that you get the exposition and the character development and stuff is just you got to watch the movie. Like nobody tells you who anybody is really.
Right.
Harvey Keitel's character has the indigenous Maori tattoos on his face, but he speaks with a Scottish accent.
Right.
So.
Which I that's another point of contention. He kind of went in and out of his Scottish accent. I don't think it's like he could have been an American. There's no reason why he couldn't have also been just an American.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like you would have to do the research to know how many Americans were in New Zealand in 1850.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I mean, there weren't as many Americans in 1850.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, I mean, we're still having the Civil War going on at that time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we were dying out.
Yeah, that's true.
We were busy.
Yep.
We couldn't be making sweet love to Ada at that point.
Yeah, that's fine. But I don't think Harvey Keitel, I didn't buy him as a Scottish...
You didn't buy Harvey Keitel in this role. I thought he was fairly cute and touching in the role.
I think he does he's a great actor, don't get me wrong. I love him. Taxi Driver, Pulp Fiction,
Reservoir Dogs.
Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, he's great in Reservoir Dogs. But it's just his when he talked, I don't know. It's kind of like, and the fact that he doesn't talk all that much, it helps his role. But I was always taken out a little bit.
So he's sort of like, he's gone native a little bit.
Yeah.
But he also
can speak the language,
right?
Where
he can speak the
Sam
Maori
Neill's
language.
Character cannot,
but he can't read, so he's not fully civilized either.
Right.
And so she's sort of choosing between, metaphorically, one male kind of owner or the other.
Yeah.
And one is a little more rule-breaking-y, but it isn't an open choice to her to just be her own person.
Well,
she kind of has to choose one person or the other.
Well,
to
right.
own
We got to
her.
get into Holly Hunter asked Harvey Keitel's character to, hey, Sam Neill was going to leave the piano on the beach, and she's like, hey, can you get to my piano?
She's like, hey, hey, can you, hey, over there, hey, you, yeah, you. Can you help me get my piano?
And he's like, no, but he ends up going and helping her anyway. And she plays the piano, and he falls in love with her right then and there, right there on the beach as she's playing the piano.
While Flora cartwels and makes
dances.
a seahorse out of shells.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the cinematography is very nice. It's gray, but it's pretty.
Yeah, the sort of blue-green,
it's always
washed out.
It's always raining.
Rainforest stuff is really evocative, like of a specific setting. This is one of those movies that really takes you to a specific place.
Yeah,
that's really,
agreed. Yep.
It's really specific. You really feel like you're there, and it's really otherworldly and different than anything that you're used to.
Yeah.
So that's one real strong suit of the film. The music and the cinematography and the acting, the costumes, and all of that kind of.
It all works really well together.
Fit. It's a finely made picture.
Yes. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, I had no inkling to see this back in the day, but then we watched it for the podcast, and I was like, I enjoyed it. I'll get that out of the way.
I think you would have probably liked it more in the 90s.
Yeah.
I think some of the sexual politics in it are a little ickier now.
I mean, I think they are, but
I think they were always icky.
But I think that's from the time, right? So Harvey Keitel is in love with Holly Hunter's character, and he gets the piano. Mm-hmm. He ends up owning it, trading it for some land to Sam Neill's character, and he starts asking her to play the piano for him, and he's gonna give her the piano. Their arrangement is for how many keys are on the piano. She
will come over each lesson for one of the keys.
And it starts out, he wants to... Does he ask her to take her jacket off first?
Well, she negotiates him first down from the white keys to the black keys.
Oh, right.
Because she likes that blue-eyed soul.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he starts to ask to touch her.
Right.
To hike up her skirt.
Yeah.
That sort of a thing. So the visits become more and more sexual. He never even wants to really learn.
No, right. And there's that one scene where everyone's asking him to play at the play. The play,
Bluebeard's
Wives. Right.
That's a pretty weird scene.
Yeah, that was, and that is another scene that was kind of like, I mean, would the indigenous people have been that like uncultured that they're like,
I mean, I think that's the other kind of icky thing
that's
now, where it's like the Maori are so rudimentarily portrayed as to be
only at that
simple
part, because there's other parts too where they're like
sexual appetites that are like really basic and bare. You never where they were talking about Harvey Keitel's penis. And
Oh
stuff
yeah,
scene,
but then they and they do come off where like he's trying to pay him in buttons, and they're
Right.
like, "We don't want your buttons, man."
yeah. I mean, Jane Campion has defended her portrayal of the Maoris. She said she had real Maoris consulting on the movie,
Right, and it says that
and
in the credits.
they're played by Maori people.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not just like people pretending to be, but it's still it's tricky because they hadn't been exposed to certain Western cultural things. I don't know. I wouldn't have put that in
Yeah,
the
so
movie.
that was the only scene. I mean, it's good for a laugh, but then you feel kind of bad because you're laughing at their expense. Yeah, we're having a laugh, and we're just.
I really liked the visual of the backlit Bluebeard pirate with the fingers and the axe.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
That was sort of it was very Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh yeah. So,
I go in for that sort of a thing.
but Harvey Keitel is kind of forcing himself on. He is.
Well, he's kind of pulling a Harvey Weinstein, right?
He's showing up naked. Yeah,
I've got the piano. You want the piano? You want the piano? I'm gonna get naked.
Yep.
You want the piano? We're gonna have the sex.
Right. Well, we're gonna lay first. What did the sex happen pretty quickly after just lay
naked together? Yeah. So
we've all tried that one. You know.
I mean, he has a significant power differential over her in the form of the piano and being male and being stronger and all this stuff. And
but like,
go ahead.
But you kind of see her. She's calculating and she knows what she's doing. And I think she would. You get the sense that she likes the attention, but because she's lonely, she's alone, you know, and
she's not getting anything from Sam Neill.
Right. So
I mean, the thing that I was struggling with a little bit is, yes, there's it's not rape what's happening with Harvey Keitel's character. It does turn out to be attempted rape with Sam Neill's character.
Yes. And that was kind of uncomfortable to watch. So go on. You go on.
What I was going to say is, it's portraying something that does turn into something that's romantic, that starts off as being transactional and icky. I don't know that means it isn't a feminist work.
Right.
I think it's just showing the complexities of her situation.
Right. I agree with you completely. And he realizes that too. He even says, he's like, look, this isn't working. I've turned you into a whore. That's not what I wanted. You know?
And it isn't until he rejects that whole premise and says, go away.
Yeah.
And confesses his feelings to her, that when she comes back on her own terms, that it becomes a real relationship.
Right.
But there is something about it starting in the way that it started.
Yeah, but I feel like she is not completely helpless, even though she doesn't have a voice. She wants her piano. I think she could have left at any time. I mean, it's hard to, it's a fine line, and I'm not saying, but I feel like Ada,
she attempts to make it kind of work sexually with Sam Neill. I mean, like, she's trying to fit the mold in a certain sense.
Yes.
But it's like basically two crappy choices for her. Like, neither choice is great.
Right.
I mean, I think the Harvey Keitel choice is romanticized because he's a hell of a lot better than Sam Neill, but it still shows the limited nature of somebody's choices.
Well, and I think you had to set this in the time. I think the fact that it's set in that time period also, I guess, what I don't even know what the word I'm trying to find is, that it protects it a little bit from today's politics, even the politics of 1993, because it's set in 1850.
Right.
But
I mean, you make a movie in 1993 set in that time for a reason. I mean, I do think Jane Campion's trying to say something.
Well, yeah.
And not necessarily just about what women had to deal with in the 1850s.
Right. I think that So let me also speak to, I think this is just kind of a completely original movie, while it is just it's written by Jane Campion, and it's kind of like, where did this come from that she thought of this mute woman with a piano and her daughter? It's like, where did that spring from? And I guess I appreciate that too. In a time,
I think she is a Kiwi.
But yeah, she is. She is from New Zealand. I saw
maybe
that.
like from her studies of the history of her country, it just seems much more exotic to us.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, What We Do in the Shadows wasn't too exotic. So
Right. It doesn't remind you of The Hunt for the Wilder People.
no, well, kind of did. They're in the same woods.
And Sam
Neill, yep.
Sam Neill, he's sort of a funny character on social media now.
Oh,
he's got
got
his
pigs.
own wine that he has the vineyard of. And
Okay.
does yoga with his pet pig.
Nice.
He's a fun guy.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him in Jurassic Park. He's great in this. He's horrible. He takes it out on, he cuts her finger off because she sends Harvey Keitel. Oh, man, in a Packwing. She goes.
So that whole part of that is so psychoanalytic. It's Oedipal to an extreme degree. Like, she's betrayed by her child to the masculine figure in the family,
right,
because she's having desire that she shouldn't have, that's wrong. And,
right.
She has to choose between being a mother and being a lover, and she chooses being a lover, so her child betrays her to the masculine ideal, who then comes and does sort of a perverse castration of her.
Oh,
in a way,
not so much castration, I didn't think, but it takes her voice away.
Well, tries to.
Right.
In the sense that the piano is her voice. But then, it seems like a happy ending, but really now she's got Harvey Keitel's voice instead of her own, because when she plays the piano, it's got that metal tap. It's not quite the same.
Right.
So all of that is intensely symbolic.
Yep.
But, he castrates himself. It's like he's all powerful and full of rage, but after he does that, he ends up being impotent.
Yeah.
Like, just go away.
Yeah.
I just want you guys to leave.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. I was going to say originally the either or is like, is this just a romance novel? Or does this mean anything?
Right. I think it means stuff.
Yeah.
I think it does. Mine was going to just start a conversation with either Harvey Keitel works or he doesn't.
I don't know. I think mileage may vary. You either make the decision to let that go or not.
Right. And I think, I guess I kept thinking
of Brooklyn.
Well, right. Yeah. It's like he could be American, or Daniel Day-Lewis would even been better in this part.
There's something about his sexuality in the film it works, though. I mean, he's one of the actors in his generation that's not afraid of full frontal nudity.
Right.
For him to have full frontal nudity while she's fully dressed is a real reversal of Hollywood stereotype, sexuality. And not that she's not nude, but it's really he's first and presented as a sexual object in a scene where he's all by himself.
Right. Yeah, he's dusting the
piano with his clothes, which is silent because she's not there. All of it works for me. Not that I'm attracted to Harvey Keitel, but like his sexuality as this character worked for me. Like, it's not supposed to be like the sexiest guy alive, but like his sexuality seems like a real part of who he is in the film.
Right, and
something
it's
that
part
you would
of
be
his.
drawn to.
Yeah, right.
Whereas
yeah, I see that.
He's comfortable with his body, whereas Sam Neill's character is uncomfortable with anything having
right.
anything to do with
right.
sex.
She tries to pull his pants down, and he pulls them right back up. He's like, nope, get my butt back covered.
No, thank you.
Yep. So.
And that's obvious symbolism of he wants to control the sexuality. He wants to touch her. He does not want her to be in control. And that's not going to be Ada.
No, right.
So like you said, she is a powerful powerless character, a paradox of such, of a being, someone having a strong voice that's mute, you know?
Yep.
So it's good. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. So, we're ready to rate?
Yeah, I give it 3.5 stars.
3.5 stars, yeah.
It's not perfect.
No, it's not 4 stars, but it's very good. As speaking as somebody who had not watched it before and came to it the first time, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Holly Hunter is amazing.
Anna Paquin is amazing in it.
Well-deserved Oscars.
Yes. It was on iTunes, and I kind of kicked myself. It was $7.99 to buy, $3.99 to rent. I just rented it, but then I was like, I could have spent
Probably
this.
watch that again.
Yep.
You won't watch it again anytime soon.
No, probably not.
You'll wait till it's streaming somewhere.
Yeah, hopefully.
I think you made the right call.
Probably.
I'll get you the piano for your birthday.
You don't have to do that. I guess before, what do you think of that end at the piano? They're going back. She says, "Cut the piano loose," and young Anna Paquin's like, "She doesn't want it.
She doesn't want it.
You
need it, Ada.
Yep.
It doesn't want it." And then she sticks her foot in the rope
and gets
to commit
pulled
suicide.
under.
So originally she drowned with the piano.
That was the original script? Yeah.
She kicks herself free and then chooses life.
Yep.
And then the metal finger piece is the actual coda.
Yeah.
I think the end of the movie works out fine. It's kind of a jarring epilogue.
Yeah, it is.
Because
you're kind of happy
you're
ending.
In this one place,
just,
this one tone for such a long time, for it to be anything else is so odd.
To be a happy ending.
I mean, I think that it would probably have been a more powerful ending for her to die, because just symbolically. Because choosing between one patriarchal choice or the other, choosing neither would be the only way she could choose. She would choose death over, and the sort of futility.
And just
of
making her
to be a strong woman in this sort of
making her a mom is just another thing of like within the story to be like, great idea. It was a great idea to have her have that daughter and set in a time where it's like that just adds another dimension of.
Oh yeah, and their really, really close, complex relationship where they literally share a secret language with one another.
Yeah,
that's really great. And you could see how, I mean, you've had that experience as a man where two women appear to be speaking in a language that you don't understand, and you feel totally left out.
Right, yep.
Like, I had it much more when I was younger, but it definitely happens from time to time where it's like, I don't know what's going on.
Right, yeah.
And that's Sam Neill's experience of Ada completely. Like,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I got myself in way over my head here.
Maybe if I board up the house and she can't.
Yeah, I thought being quiet, silence would be good, but yeah.
So that was the piano.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
Bryan Adams' greatest
hits.
hits.
Thanks for listening to another episode of My So-Called Podcast.
My So-Called November 2nd, 1993.
I've been Gary Linton.
I've been Eric Spiegel.
All right.
This has been My So-Called Podcast. Come on back in 2 weeks where we will be turning the home fires of the Memory Palace on for you at this podcast, which is about the 90s. Bye.